now we're talking about federalism as far as the Adaza Insights are concerned. So, again, I'll just recap. Some voices are saying, based on the creation of a state should be based on population. There are those who said that, oh, Cebu can be a standalone federal state without joining Central Visayas. And there are all advocates of federalism. When they arrived in Negros, said, oh, if you Negros people decide to create your own federal state, you can do that. And then in Capiz, Iloilo, etc., the same thing can happen also. So, where are we actually going?
Now, these people should be familiar with definitions, especially in the realm of politics. When they think of those terms, so much independence, they are not thinking of a federation, a federal state. They are thinking of a confederation, a conglomeration of various independent states. That's a confederation, not a federal system, not a federation. No, we don't need that. We need confederation like a hole in our heads.
Two quick questions. Armed forces and police. National.
Yeah, armed forces.
National.
National.
Federal.
National. The level of the regional government, there should be an independent police force. And with certain parameters to prevent the emergence of lords. And then there will also be a group coming from the, no, not police. I would conceive of National Guards in that area. Because if for instance, if we adopt the system in Israel of a citizen army, you need National Guard. Because if they malfunction on that particular level, at least the national interest will be protected.
How about national debt as against local debts?
Well, the national debts, we have to see to it that everybody contributes to the payment of national debts. But you know, Eric, I don't know. This is an idea I've had for so long already after very serious studies. Why should we borrow money? For what? You know, many of the funds that are borrowed with national guarantee is not for the national interest. It's for the interest of certain people. We should get rid of that idea. And as a matter of fact, I've been telling so many people over and over again, if I were a part of this administration of President Duterte, there are many things that could be done without creating problems. For instance, train. My God, why should you have train? There is so much money in this country that can be utilized to the concept of build, build, build.
Yes.
There's some, but I won't tell them.
They'll have to ask you.
I won't tell them.
They're talking about lump sum grants for certain provinces that are not as progressive. For example, in BBL, they're talking about giving them a yearly state grant in order to help them. If they're going to be part of a federal government, should we still be giving certain grants to this?
Under emergency situations.
Yes.
Emergency situation.
But
only in emergency situations.
In normal course?
Normal course, no.
Even if they're impoverished,
No, there is no. The way Marcos has configured the 13 regions, there is no region that is impoverished there. There's so much resources in every region in the definition of the regions.
And it should be the job now of the governor to take care of all.
Yes, that's the job of the governor to see to it that his area is developed. You know, one of the reasons for the federal system is promote competition among the different components. Like in the United States of America, California competes with New York.
Now, this brings me to, we'll move on now to the final question on federalism. You have your point of view. You have the PDP Laban. You have the constitutional commissioners. And then you will have Congress. And then you'll have a Senate. Are we going to come out with an effective form of federalism, or will this be a Frankenstein?
No, I doubt very much that there will be federalism within the normal process, within the normal constitutional process, because there are so many things to hurdle.
Would you agree that it's a little scary? You have to feel a sense of anxiety that with all these ideas coming, with different approaches, we might come out with a Frankenstein?
It's not unlikely. It's not unlikely. But the Frankenstein, from my point of view, will never come to pass. You know why?
Why?
The current administration is saying that by 2020,
Yes.
this will be in place.
Yes.
Federalism will be in place. I doubt very much whether
Okay.
it will be in place by 2020. Now, if it will not be in place in 2020, it will not be in place in 2022.
It will never happen, that's what you're saying.
If I were the president, that's why I'm proposing
Yes.
a total change of the cabinet. I'll get the best and the brightest in this country. And you know why? The best and the brightest will implement the many dreams of Duterte.
Okay.
Parliamentary system,
Yes.
it will be in place in 6 months. Federal system, it will be in place
In 6 months.
In 6 months. Implementation of independent foreign policy, it will be done by some of the best people in this country.
You talked about foreign policy, independent foreign policy. Your thoughts, your insights. West Philippine Sea, how we are handling it. Benham Rice.
Well, West Philippine Sea, we should really have insisted on the enforcement of our victory in the arbitral tribunal.
Okay.
That's number one. And the way we project ourselves today vis-a-vis China and the United States of America, it sounds like this. We are getting away from the idea that we are viewed as tuta of the Americans. Di ba?
Okay,
That's
okay.
the popular view.
Yes.
And we end up becoming two things of China. That's not the way to.
Okay.
That's,
It should be equidistant, that's what you're saying.
Yeah, it should not be that way. You know, many of these people do not understand the dynamics of international politics. It takes a lot of study to do that. No, it cannot be done by hip shooting. So, on that, if I were, for instance, a member of this administration,
Yes.
I will tell the president, you know, our representative to the United Nations should deliver the speech. I'll write it for him.
Yes.
That the concept of the veto power of the 5 countries is antediluvian.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
That's only good
Yes.
immediately after the World War.
Yes,
maybe
correct.
maybe after 5 years.
Yes.
But beyond that, no. We should insist that membership of the United Nations is by countries.
Yes.
Why should 5 countries determine whether a ruling of the UN Arbitral Tribunal should be enforced or not?
Yes.
It cannot be enforced because
Yes.
China is there.
Yes.
It would veto it.
Yes.
We should give teeth to the Security Council.
Okay.
And the Security Council can enforce the judgments of the UN Commission.
Yes.
Yeah, like the Arbitral Tribunal.
Where are we as far as West Philippine Sea is concerned? And then it seems like Benham Rice is also on the palette, on the table for the Chinese.
You know, in all these areas, for us, it's stormy weather.
Okay.
And it has Eulandic implications.
Okay.
And the devastation on this particular level. That's why I'm recommending, I said, to the president, he might think this is a weird idea, but he should get the best and the brightest now. He has satisfied already his followers after 2 years. By July, it will be 2 years. Do something that is earth-shaking. You know, Duterte has a great following in this country.
Yes.
Because of the political will,
Yes,
the
yes.
projection.
Yes, the
The
projection.
projection of
Okay.
political will.
Qualified, okay.
But if he reshuffles his cabinet, not reshuffle, change his cabinet, except a few,
Yeah.
and get the best and the brightest, he will give a legacy to this country that will not be forgotten.
What is your take? Joint sharing, joint exploration in West Philippine Sea.
Now, the idea of joint exploration is like giving away
Okay.
the victory in the UN Arbitral Tribunal.
Okay.
The joint exploration can be discussed later, but China should accept the ruling of the UN arbitral tribunal. As Carpio mentioned it, I agree with him totally.
Malacanang says, the joint exploration is actually a sovereign act of the Philippines to to allow China in
no.
it's a sovereign act now. What do you think?
That's like a master-slave relationship. It's also the idea of the slave to be a slave to the master. No,
Okay.
that's not. Because that decision is not on parity level.
Yes.
It's not. As a matter of fact, the president that Xi Jinping said, you better not create problems in the U.S.-Philippine Sea unless you are willing to go to war. That's a lot of nonsense.
Okay.
Xi Jinping is telling us a lot of nonsense because they will not go to war on the Philippine Sea.
Yes, yes.
They should take into consideration that this problem will incinerate the world
Yes.
if they go into a war with us.
Because there will be other parties involved.
Involved. As a matter of fact, there's another.
And yet we swallow this hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, that's why we should not do that, because if the Secretary of Foreign Affairs and the Secretary of Justice and the Secretary of National Defense are doing their homework, the President will not take that stand. The reason why you have to get the best and the brightest, because you don't know everything.
Now, do you think that's good? Do you see that in the next 5-10 years, if we are not careful, they will be also in Benham Rice?
They'll be in Benham Rice. As a matter of fact, the suggestion of the President, which he says it was only a joke, it probably will become a province of China.
And,
you see?
And he may consider this as a joke, but I think the Chinese might have this at the back of their minds.
Yeah, words matter.
Yes, yes, yes.
Seriously, because take a look at the economics in this country. China
Yes,
is
they're everywhere.
China is here.
Yes, already. They're building a lot of condominiums.
Sa to pa sa Sinibono, due talang pitik. Tingaling ba probinsya na tanin?
Precisely,
That's
precisely.
the point.
Even the electricity, and then they're talking about the telco, the third telco, they would like to also be part of it.
That's why we should really have dynamic and strategic changes in this country.
I can't let you go without going into the drug problem. How would you handle the drug problem?
I was telling some of the classmates of the president who were telling me when they were still discussing revolutionary government, because long before, many of the policies that Duterte is, these were my policies when I was still a kid at the University of the Philippines. Revolutionary government, parliamentary system, federal system, independent foreign policy.
Drug problem.
The drug problem, I was telling them, if I were the Secretary of Justice, I were Secretary of Justice,
Yes.
I will adhere to the schedule of President Duterte at the beginning of his term. I'll solve the problem in 6 months. If I cannot solve but I should be given a free hand.
Yes.
If I cannot solve the problem, I'll commit harakiri in national television. Here with you. I'll commit harakiri if I can't do it. Because it can be done.
Okay.
My theory has always been like this. The impossible is only on the level of the mind.
Okay.
And this thing is not impossible.
Is Tokhang the right approach? Would you go into Tokhang if you were the DOJ?
If Tokhang by itself, consistent with the meaning in our language, tok-tok, hangyo, okay lang ang tok-tok. Ang problema sa Tokhang, tukbang eh. Tuk-tuk, bang-bang.
So that's not the approach for...
No, that's not the approach.
Within the 6 months, that's not your approach?
That's not my approach.
Okay.
And I'll tell them, it can be done, and if I'm there, it will be done.
In short, they have to talk to you. Okay.
Maybe they think I'm very presumptuous, but they were the ones talking to me.
Anyway, you're saying 6 months. Okay. Well, the hour was indeed very short, Manong. Dagang salamat yun. Thank you very much. It's good to see you always.
It's always a pleasure here.
Yeah, it's always good to see you.
As a matter of fact, yung ko ganina sa akong secretary, if it were not your invitation, because you are my friend, and your father was my friend, and virtually my contemporary, I'll not be here. It takes a long time to come to
from Quezon City.
Boy.
Okay. Dagang salamat and thank you very much kay Manong Bono Adaza. We'll have him always because it's a breath of fresh air. And again, as I say, perhaps a light at the end of a very dark tunnel. Ito po si Eric Espina palaging nagsasabi, magmasid, makialam, higit sa lahat ay manindigan dahil wala pong magmamahal sa Pilipino kung hindi ang Pilipino. Daghang salamat, mayong gabi kaninyong tanan.